Okay, welcome back, culinary arts students. Again, my apologies for being out yesterday. We have now approached the 40% mark. We're nearing the 50% mark through our completion rate for the semester. So just keep your eye on the prize. Right, we had our first grade poll that happened on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. And if your grades aren't where you want them to be, continue to hit the View Your Work tab in Google Classroom. Look for those low scores or zeros that you've been awarded. Again, reminder, don't look under the missing work because I grade everything pretty much every day. And so it won't count as missing if I've awarded it as zero. So looking under the missing work tab isn't where you want to go. You want to go to View Your Work and check your grade there. We're getting into sauces this week, and that's going to connect. The competency is going to connect over to our baked macaroni and cheese competency next week. So we'll do preparing a basic sauce, and we'll learn about the principles of sauce making here for a short while during lecture. And then I will pull together the demo tomorrow and have you taste the sauce, and then I'll extend the sauce out with it as a derivative sauce. So we'll do a very quick demo. And I'll do a demo on pasta cookery, and then you'll do your mise en place portion of your lab tomorrow as well. We should be able to get all that done during the scheduled class period. I'm going to give you time to lean into Ruby. You've got 2 lessons in Ruby: how to make roux and how to make a bechamel sauce, which is our competency this week. Again, talking about giving you career overview and opportunity advice. I even had one student sort of come to me that I had for Intro to Baking and Intro to Culinary last year, and came to me on Thursday, I think it was last week, emailed me and said, I think I want to be a chef. What's my next step? And it was pretty cool to see a student that's taken the classes decide that this is a career trajectory that she wants to get into. So again, let's have those conversations. I try to show you these videos as a way to understand the opportunities that are out there. And some of you, even in culinary, might find that you want to take the Intro to Baking and Pastry course next semester or next year. And this is going to give you a look into that side of the industry. So I'm going to go ahead and play this, and then we're going to jump into lecture for about 10 or 15 minutes. I'm going to give you the remainder of the class time to work on Ruby and to lean into that. You should get one, if not both, lessons done. They're quite short. And then tomorrow, again, I'll jump into demo tasting, and you will have time to mise en place.
Today we are making a delicious 70% fleur de cal black forest. Stay tuned for more wonderfully delicious delights. Not everything's like those pastry shows.
All right, just a glimpse. One of the cool things I like to see about baking and pastry is it's just simply the finished product, right? Some of you might find the creative side of baking and pastry is appealing to you. And you got to also understand that baking and pastry, it's much more scientific, methodological. Measuring is super important. All that comes into play. A lot of the time, students who are more sort of particular and detail oriented find themselves in the baking and pastry area. I wanted to give you a quick reminder before I jump into lecture, just about the Chef of the Week, right? And this is one component of the Chef of the Week. So if you've completed Chef of the Week, you should have completed the Chef of the Week slat. And one of the areas that's falling short, I'm finding, is this area right here. So the area that says kitchen station organization. I'm not looking for pictures from your lab there, right? I'm looking for pictures. If you read the directions, I'm looking for pictures of your station being reorganized. And so the Chef of the Week is responsible for checking the cabinets, checking the drawers, putting the equipment back in the appropriate location. You can either use the physical copies of the pictures of the stations that are located on the counter in the middle of the kitchen, or you can scan the QR code that's actually on your cabinet door and look at the pictures that way. But you're responsible for making sure your station's reset. If you submit lab pictures here, I don't give you credit for that, okay? No matter what the reflection is. You need to be doing the right thing. So again, I put directions everywhere, right? I mean, I'm pretty heavy on directions, so just make sure you're reading the directions. Okay, what we want to do now, let's go ahead and talk about really quickly our learning target for the week, and it's focused on I and we will learn and apply basic sauce making techniques. Okay, so again, I and we will learn and apply basic sauce making techniques, all right? Thanks, period one, for writing those on the board. So again, we're covering sauce cookery this week. Okay, listen, please. All right, and again, as I mentioned, you have 2 Ruby lessons. So we'll be making bechamel sauce. You have 2 Ruby lessons: how to make a bechamel and how to make a roux. Those will go pretty fast. All right. So sauce, right? Sauce. What does sauce bring to a dish? Without looking at the definition, what does it bring to a dish? Do you think? Flavor, color, texture. What's probably the main attribute that sauce brings? It aligns with texture, moisture. Yeah. All right. So it's bringing moistness to the plate, and it also might serve as a binding agent. Okay. Might be bringing components of the dish together. You think about baked macaroni and cheese, how it's bringing that pasta together, making it sort of one homogeneous state. Okay. So it's bringing, and obviously it's transferable both savory. Savory dishes and baking and pastry dishes, right? Both applicably used sauces, right? So the 5 mother sauces, important to remember. You've got 5 primary sauces. The one that you're going to be concentrating on this week is going to be bechamel sauce. And then you'll be building out a veloute sauce. So you've got, I want you to repeat after me. Say bechamel, then veloute, all right, Espanol, Hollandaise, and sauce tomate. All right, sauce tomate being tomato sauce, right? So the 2 that you're going to be producing in this class, the advanced class does more, okay, of the mother sauces, but the bechamel we'll be doing this week for our competency next week. We'll be keeping that, and then you'll roll it into the baked macaroni and cheese competency next week, and then the veloute we'll be doing as a base for our broccoli and cheddar soup. Okay, so you'll learn how to make 2 of these sauces, and I'd say honestly, these 2 combined with Espanol are the most common ones used in American society. Espanol and Hollandaise a little bit more intricate, more laborious. You'll find in the restaurant industry, but not as commonly prepared at home. All right, the biggest principle here is that I want you to focus on understanding that there's a mother sauce, okay, and then there's a derivative or a baby sauce, okay, and all the difference is that you're going to incorporate other ingredients, okay. So I might make a Mornay sauce by incorporating Parmesan cheese, right, to a white sauce, and ends up becoming a Mornay sauce, okay. In this case, for the demo tomorrow, I'm going to make a bechamel. You're going to see just a basic bechamel made, and then I'm going to turn it into a pesto Parmesan cream sauce. and then I'm going to go ahead and show you how to cook dried pasta because we'll be doing that next week. And so I'll extend that demo out early for next week because I want you to have something to eat this week, okay? Because the bechamel, you'll taste it, but you're not going to eat a quart of bechamel, okay? So we'll be tasting the food tomorrow. But the mother sauce and the derivative or baby sauces, the petite sauces or small sauces are what they're called. Okay, so the classic sauces are like the 5 mother sauces, and the contemporary ones are going to be made up of a number of different options that I'll show you in just a minute, okay? Heat regulation is super important. I know that I made baked macaroni and cheese just a couple weeks ago from when I like maybe a month ago when I burned my arm, and I talked to you guys about that. And I was in a hurry, and as a result of that, he was late, so I made the baked macaroni and cheese really fast. And I typically use a cornstarch slurry to get a creamier, smoother, glossier sauce for baked macaroni and cheese. And what happened is just it scalded on the bottom of the pot a little bit. And as soon as a sauce starts to stick at all, you want to change that sauce out of that pot and go into a clean pot. You don't want to continue to prepare it because what will happen is as soon as there's a skin forming on the bottom of the pot, over time it's going to burn. It's just guaranteed. And then that burning flavor will permeate throughout the sauce, okay? So you want to regulate your heat. Heat regulation is super important. You want to go low and slow, preferably when you're making the bechamel. And then some of you will come to me and say, well, my sauce isn't thickening. And so you're using a traditional, a classical thickening agent called a roux, okay? It's mentioned here, thickening agents. So you're going to do a roux, which is a 1-to-1 ratio of fat and flour, okay? It can be, you can do bacon fat and flour. You can do olive oil and flour. You can do butter and flour. Butter and flour are most common, okay? But a 1-to-1 ratio. So a cup to a cup, tablespoon to a tablespoon, whatever it is, 1-to-1, okay? And so you're going to use a roux, which you want to pay attention to as you're bringing that up to temperature. The flour needs to reach its maximum thickening capability and help gelatinize the sauce. And as a result, you want to bring it up to temperature. And some of you will feel like, oh my gosh, my sauce isn't thickening. So you want to just turn it up a little bit more, keep stirring. I'm going to talk about in the demo the importance of staying in the corners of the pot, scraping the bottom of the pot, and making sure it stays clean so it doesn't burn, okay? And then the base of a lot of the sauces is a stock or a broth, okay? A stock being the extraction of flavor from bones, aromatics, and vegetables, okay, into a liquid, right? And then like you might buy that base at Costco, that chicken base or beef base, might have that in the refrigerator. That's just a concentrated version of a stock, okay, or a broth, okay? And we won't make stocks in this class. We make them in the advanced class. But the idea is that you're taking flavor from something that's solid and putting it into something that's liquid because it's more pliable, all right, for the use of during the preparation of stocks or of soups and sauces, okay? A good definition of or an outcome of a good quality stock is going to be this gelatinous, like a bowl of Jell-O. I don't know if you know this, but most of the gelatinous type products, the Jell-O-based products on the market, are meat-based because the collagen from the joints in animals is what produces that Jell-O texture. And so you'll find that there are vegan products in the marketplace, but you'll find that a lot of them are just simply the hooves and joints of cows and pigs that are cooked down, and that's what creates that gelatin mixture. And so a good quality stock is going to be gelatinous, it's going to be flavorful, and it's going to be clear, okay? And it's when you look into a pot of stock, you could drop a dime into it and literally read the dime. You wouldn't want to drop change into a pot of stock, but if you wanted to evaluate it, you should be able to read anything that you drop in there. You should be able to read it. All right, and then those contemporary sauces I mentioned, you've got the mother sauces as the classical or traditional sauces. Contemporary sauces like pesto, okay, ketchup, mayonnaise, Worcestershire, barbecue, mustard, purees, broths, balsamic reduction, gochujang. I love me some gochujang. If you're familiar with it, it's just a chili paste. And one of the things that's on the market now is if you've seen the fried onion crunch, it's like a chili paste with the crunchy onions in it. Okay, but this is a really yummy preparation I use in barbecue and smoking, a lot of different applications. All right, here's a quick overview, all right, and then I'm going to talk about just sort of a modern tomato sauce that I made a number of years ago, and then we're going to move into some time for Ruby. So watch the screen closest to you, please. All right, so a quick overview, and again, I'll be doing the demo tomorrow on the bechamel. Okay, so here's an example of like a modern day tomato sauce. So I used to for the last like 5 years up to last summer, did personal chefing during the summer, and it was a blast and good money to be made. Had a residence. They had like a $500,000 outdoor kitchen on the Willamette River down in Wilsonville. It was just a phenomenal venue, wood fired oven, just massive, and I'd always do pizza night once a week, and so they'd congregate there, and there'd be sometimes I do dinners for 15, sometimes there'd be dinners for 50. Fourth of July, I do something for 125 people, so it was a blast. My kids would always go with me. This is an example of just a pizza night sauce, and I just wanted to show this to you. It illustrates sort of how you just take some modern day seasonal ingredients and make it into a sauce. So here's heirloom tomatoes. I charred them, okay, in the wood fired oven. So they're sort of browned, roasted, cooked down. Then I took raw onion and garlic because I wanted some edge in the sauce, some heat. The roasted tomatoes, basil, olive oil, salt, pepper, a little bit of red wine vinegar, maybe a touch of honey, and then I blended it. Okay, then I threw it in a cast iron pan, parked it in the window of the oven on the right here, and let it reduce down until I got the right consistency, seasoned it, and it was ready to go. Put it down on the dough as a sauce, and then put the appropriate toppings on it, and ended up with a couple different pizzas. So this is, sauces don't have to be complicated. You're just looking at ingredients that either bring, as you said earlier, moisture and flavor, okay, to the dish. And in this case, I'm bringing a really good concentrated tomato sauce to a pizza dish. All right, thickening agents. I'm going to show you. We're going to use a roux when we make the bechamel, but I want to show you how to use a modified starch here, cornstarch. All right, really simple. I typically, like if I'm doing a cream, I'll go ahead and use some of the cream or half and half, and I'll do the slurry in that with the cold liquid, and then work it in. If you put it into the liquid and let it sit, what's the forgetting? I always forget this term. What's the term you got? And something that can be solid and liquid. What's the term? You guys learned this in science. Let's see. It's called a yeah. Oblek is like this, right? You guys, you know what I'm talking about when you make oblek. The term is called uh, non-Newtonian. All right, and non-Newtonious fluid. Okay, and so what'll happen is you'll add the cornstarch to the liquid, and literally it'll settle into the bottom and become a solid in the bottom of the bowl. And so it's a non-Newtonious fluid, and so you want to make sure it's mixed in appropriately. So you need to remix the cornstarch slurry before you add it to the hot liquid, and you want to use a whisk while you're pouring it in. Okay, and then the other thickening agent, okay, that I wanted to talk about that we're doing this week, you're making a roux, right? Again, 1-to-1 ratio, 50-50 butter and flour in this instance. Let's just watch this video, and I'll be demoing this. So a little bit different, right? You can even do what's called a beurre meunier, all right, and take the butter and flour, knead them together, okay, and just simply drop those balls into the liquid, and it'll serve as a thickening agent. The one thing about that is when you add the beurre meunier, you still need to cook it off so that flour starchiness gets cooked off. You can't just throw it into a sauce, thicken it, and be done. Okay. All right. So, and you guys are doing what's called either a blonde or white roux. So you're going to be up in that white roux category. You want to barely cook the roux out. You don't want to brown the roux. You can see all the different stages of browning, all the way up to even what's even requested sometimes is that people down in the South, like Cajun Creole territory, they'll do burnt roux. Gumbo roux. These ones are really dark and they become bitter in flavor. They bring a bitter attribute to the dish by intent. Okay, they're not even trying to avoid it. They want to introduce that, but really, it's just about cooking it down longer periods of time and the proteins brown and caramelize in the cooking process. So you guys will be focused up here in the top left corner for your roux this week. All right, so I'm going to play this video, but you don't need to stop and listen to it. I'd like you to get your Chromebooks out. Let's use the remainder of the time to work on Ruby, and I'll have the video playing in the background. All right, we're putting up in the video, okay? All right, I'll play the second part of that video later on in the week. We've got the remainder of the class period, sort of an estimated 4 minutes or so to work on whatever you're working on. If you're getting into an assessment, I would complete it pretty quickly before the bell rings. You got about 4 minutes remaining.